Hey, today's video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Hello. Topher here. So as you know, Taiwan has purchased a lot of weapon systems from the USA, and many of these weapon systems were recently demonstrated in Taiwan's Hangguang 41. 10-day military exercise. I personally thought it was extremely impressive. I thought it was a huge improvement compared to exercises of previous years. The fact that it was 10 days long and that it was unscripted, really good ideas. And I was really impressed with how it integrated civilians. So overall, just a great job. And I actually talk a lot more about this in an interview I did with legislator Wang Dingyu, and Tony Hugh was there. But that's on the 308 High Ground channel. I'll leave a link to that in the description if you want to watch that interview. And I honestly recommend you check it out. Tony had a lot of really great things to say. But today's video, I actually want to talk about some of the weapon systems that Taiwan has purchased from the USA and rate them on a tier list. And I want to take a lot of different things into account, how cost effective they are, how effective the weapon systems are, its logistics chain, maintenance, all sorts of things. But specifically how effective these weapons will be for Taiwan's situation. And although I've worked alongside a lot of the weapon systems I'm going to talk about, I don't consider myself an expert. So I'm sure there's going to be things that I'm going to miss, factors that I'm not going to be aware of, or that I just forget. So if you agree or if you disagree with any of my ratings here, then please let me know in the comments, okay? I love reading the comments, I love learning new things. But before we get into the tier list and start talking about these weapon systems that Taiwan is using to bolster its defense, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Surfshark VPN. You see, with Surfshark, you can bolster your own defense when it comes to cyber threats. I'm sure you've heard about VPNs before and how they're a great internet security tool, but maybe you don't know which VPN to use, or you've tried others in the past and you weren't really happy with their performance. I understand. I personally have used many different VPN services over the years, but now I only use one, and that is Surfshark VPN. It's a service that I pay for, and I use it every day on all my devices that connect to the internet. In my opinion, it's one of the best options out there for internet security, and if you scan this QR code or click the link in the comments below, surfshark.com/UncleTopher, then you can get Surfshark. But please use the checkout code UncleTopher. When you use this coupon code, you can get Surfshark VPN and all its other internet security tools with an additional 4 months extra. Now, there are a lot of reasons that I decided to use Surfshark, but the biggest two reasons is that they have super fast internet speeds and they're very affordable. I've used VPNs that were kind of expensive, and I've used VPNs that have really slowed down my internet speed. But Surfshark does neither of these things. Super fast internet speed at a great price. Now, Surfshark VPN keeps your internet secure because it encrypts all of your data. So when you're browsing the internet, you're actually browsing it from Surfshark servers, not from your own device. This means that websites and hackers and governments, even the internet service provider, they don't know what you're doing online. They don't know that it's you. Another reason that I love Surfshark is that with just one account, you can use unlimited devices. So you can actually share your account with your friends and your family. That makes an already affordable service even cheaper. Haha. So if you're interested in having the peace of mind that comes with great internet security, then please scan this QR code or click the link in the comments below, surfshark.com/UncleTopher. And when you're checking out, don't forget to use the coupon code UncleTopher at checkout. That way you can get Surfshark with an additional 4 months of service. And thank you very much, Surfshark, for not only keeping my internet safe, but for being a big supporter of the channel. Thanks. All right, I'm gonna just be doing this tier list off the top of my head, and I'll probably forget some weapon systems, but let's start with the ones that get a lot of media attention, okay? And one of those would be the M1A2T Abrams tank. Abrams have been around for a while, and over the years they've been improved upon over and over again. I've trained alongside Abrams, and I have fought alongside Abrams. And the first thing I gotta say about these tanks is that they're cool. Tanks are pretty cool. Yeah, tanks are fairly badass. And although the Abrams is actually getting kind of old at this point, it's still a very effective weapon system. And its age isn't necessarily a bad thing because it means that the chain of supply, the logistics requiring all the maintenance and everything like that, it's very well established. That actually drives down the cost of maintenance on Abrams tanks. But that maintenance is still pretty expensive. They have a lot of advantages. They're very accurate, they're fast, they carry a bunch of ammo, they're pretty safe, heavy-duty tank. But with that thick armor also comes a very heavy weight. And this limits their capability. Abrams are just too heavy for many bridges. I've also seen Abrams get stuck in the mud before. Now, Taiwan purchased these for coastal defense, and against China's amphibious APCs, the Type 05s, Abrams will easily destroy those. That's a one-shot, one-kill. Abrams are also capable of easily destroying a lot of the landing craft that would be used, like the hovercraft and so forth. So as far as coastal defense goes, it's a pretty good choice. Very mobile, very powerful. Anything that's landing on the beach isn't going to be able to put up a fight against the Abrams. But the fact remains that most of Taiwan is mountainous jungle and urban areas. And these are two environments that are not great for the Abrams. So I think with today's technology, Taiwan could probably develop UAVs and USVs. These are drones in the air and in the sea that would be very cost effective and require a lot less maintenance. So because of that, I really don't think I can rank the Abrams very high, at least not for Taiwan. I think I'm going to rank it at a B. I'm glad that Taiwan has them, but I honestly can't recommend that they purchase anymore. I think the money would be better spent in developing different weapon systems that could serve a similar purpose. Okay, let's talk about air defense systems. So let's start with the Stinger missile. Stingers are a well-developed system. They've been around for several years. They've seen a lot of actual combat, and they are an excellent short-range air defense system. They have a lot of advantages. They're not super expensive. They can be carried by a few soldiers. They're man-portable, man-pad system. You can also mount them on trucks, and they have a great performance record. Whenever anyone talks about China being able to launch an air assault or paratroopers against Taiwan, it's clear they don't understand the capabilities of Stinger missiles, because Stingers are specifically designed to counter that threat. They're very easy to hide, very difficult to target. Helicopters and cargo planes that are sending out airborne troops, they have to fly slow and low. That's just an easy shot for a Stinger. So Stinger missiles quite easily counter airborne and air assault missions. The big trick is just to make sure you have them in the right place, because they do have a short range. And that is its big limiting factor. They're not going to be very effective against fast-moving fighter jets. They're not going to be very effective against bombers that are at very high altitude. And I don't even think it's possible for a Stinger to target a ballistic missile. I could be wrong. If you know, leave a comment. So they're part of the solution for air defense, but they're not a one-size-fits-all solution. However, because of their low cost, how survivable they are, how portable they are, and how effective they are against air assaults and airborne operations, I have to rank them pretty high. I think it's a great weapon system for Taiwan. I'm going to give it an A. Let's keep talking about air defense. How about the Patriot PAC-3? Now, Patriot is a pretty revolutionary system when it was first introduced, and it has seen a lot of combat. It's been refined and improved upon over the years. Now, everything that the Stinger can shoot down, a Patriot can shoot down, plus ballistic missiles, high-speed fighter jets, high-altitude bombers. The Patriot's one of those, if it flies, it dies kind of air defense system. Patriots are also pretty expensive. They're not cheap. Now, in many scenarios, it is going to be a cost-effective system, but with the development of things like the Shahed drone, basically long-range glide bombs, can a Patriot shoot it down? Yeah. Is it a good use of a Patriot? Probably not. But I do think I have to score it higher than the Stinger missiles, so I'm going to put the Patriot PAC-3 as our very first S-tier weapon system. Let's talk about F-16s. Now, there are a lot of critics out there with the F-16. They'll say it's too old. The first F-16, it's older than me. But they're constantly being redesigned, constantly being upgraded, and with that age comes excellent supply chains, and so does a long track record in combat. I think it's something like 25 countries use the F-16, and I think over 4,000 have been made. I could be wrong, I'm not sure. And the ones that Taiwan have are very capable because they're equipped with what are called sniper pods. This gives a great long-range advantage in detecting enemy aircraft. So against most Chinese aircraft, one-on-one, I think Taiwan's F-16s are going to win. They're a great multi-role fighter with that sniper pod and with the Sidewinder missiles. I think most Chinese aircraft are going to lose that fight. And just like tanks, fighter jets are super cool. I mean, they are awesome. F-16s themselves aren't super expensive as far as fighter jets go. In fact, they're actually on the cheaper side. But that doesn't mean they're cheap. They're still pretty expensive pieces of equipment. The big disadvantage that fighter jets have is that they require a lot of training to train up a good pilot. So I'm really struggling where to place it because, you know, F-16, I mean, it is a proven multi-role fighter. It's got a great supply chain. And with that sniper pod, it's going to win 9 times out of 10 against most Chinese aircraft. And this is just an assumption, although I think it's a fair assumption. I think that the F-16s probably have much better electronic warfare capabilities than China's fighters, but they require a lot of support and a lot of training. I really want to give it S tier, but I don't think I can. However, I don't think it's as low as B tier either. Yeah, I think A tier is fair. I think it's a good use of Taiwan's defense budget. That's probably a controversial ranking though. I'm sure a lot of you watching would rank it lower, and I think a lot of you watching would rank it higher. So let me know in the comments, all right? Okay, let's keep talking aircraft. Let's talk about the, how about the C-130? C-130, very great aircraft. I've been in them lots of times, jumped out of them a few times even. It's a cargo aircraft. It's called the Hercules, and it is an old workhorse. Probably a little too old. Although they're very versatile, they're great aircraft, I'm not sure how high I can rank it. From what I understand, the maintenance on them are actually fairly easy compared to other aircraft, so that's definitely a plus in its side. And depending on how much cargo is on it, it doesn't need that much of a runway, a relatively very short runway. So they're pretty cool, but man, oh man, they are old. I could be wrong, but I think that Taiwan is using the C-130H variant, which is not the newest. And really, I'm not sure if I can recommend that Taiwan purchase any C-130Hs that are being retired from the US Air Force. So although I got a lot of love for the C-130, I don't think I can rate it very high. So even though I don't want to do it, I think I'm gonna put the C-130 at a C tier. Maybe I should rank it higher because right now there's nothing that's replacing it. So maybe I should move it up to B. I got a lot of good memories with C-130s also. So yeah, all right, my personal bias, I'm gonna kick it up to B. We'll say B minus. I don't know. What do you think? Is that fair? Well, since we're looking at the lake, let's talk about the Harpoon anti-ship missile. This is a pretty good system overall, and for Taiwan, it's extremely useful. They're not super expensive, but compared to other anti-ship missiles out there, like the one that India makes, the BrahMos, and some other US versions, like the LRASM, it's not quite as capable. It doesn't have as much of a range. Now, it doesn't have the highest range of anti-ship missiles out there, but it's perfectly fine for Taiwan's needs. It's also really cost-effective. They're not very expensive. And they can be fired from many different platforms, from ships, from aircraft, from the land, even from submarines. You know, at first I was going to rank it at around a B tier because I was comparing it to an anti-ship missile that is obviously S tier, like the LRASM. But for Taiwan's needs, it's actually really good. So I think I'm going to rank it an A. Yeah, I think A is fair. Okay, saving the best for last, the HIMARS rocket artillery. To me, this is a no-brainer, straight to S tier, straight to S tier. HIMARS are simply awesome. Now, I know they're not as sexy and cool as a tank or an F-16, but holy cow, are they effective. It's a game changer. The great thing about HIMARS is that they're very mobile, they're very easy to train, they're very easy to use. Because of their high mobility, they're able to survive counterfire much more than other rocket artillery systems. And one of the great things about them is that there's several different types of munitions. So there's all sorts of different ranges and capabilities for rockets and missiles that can be fired from a HIMARS. It makes it just a very versatile, easy to use, easy to camouflage, easy to move system. And I think it's safe to say that it's one of the reasons that Ukraine has been able to hold off against Russia as well as it has. With HIMARS, Taiwan has the capability to quickly launch counterfire against any missile strikes that are coming into Taiwan. So radar systems are able to figure out the point of origin of a ballistic missile that's being fired, and those HIMARS can send rockets that have the range to target those launchers. Additionally, they can target ships, they can target beach landings. There's so many uses. So I think that HIMARS are a great addition to Taiwan's military. I would encourage Taiwan to purchase more and maybe even consider developing and manufacturing rocket pods and munitions for the HIMARS right here in Taiwan. So yeah, again, easy S tier. But I'm interested in your opinion. If you have your own tier list with the weapon systems that I said, leave them in the comments, okay? If you agree or you disagree, or if I missed something, leave a comment. Hey everyone. So, as I'm editing this video, I realize that I have completely forgotten to talk about helicopters and drones. Whoops. I also forgot to talk about some other missile systems like the Javelin and the TOW, so there's definitely going to be a part 2 to this tier list. Sorry about that. I guess that's what I get for just walking and talking and not actually writing a script. Oh well, lesson learned. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Big thanks to Surfshark. If you're interested in their service, please use my link in the comments. And a super big thanks to all my channel members. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. You all have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.